Okay, so what I want to do is take a look at some of the most searched for questions on Google about backsplash specific layout questions. And I think this is gold if you stick around for this. Why would people be interested in hearing from us about how to install backsplashes? There's a couple of reasons. One is we do take our education very serious. We're taking a look at the ANSI book. We're taking a look at the TCNA book. We're members of the National Tile Contractors Association, and we're looking at best practices from our contractor association. And we've been doing it for a long time. Personally, I've been in this trade since 1994, and I put in, I'm sure, thousands of backsplashes. So where should backsplash tile start and stop? That's a big question. So we have a couple options for that. One is we'll start where the upper cabinet ends, and that's a nice clean line. And another option is to start where the countertop ends, and we'll bring it up and into the cabinet up top if that's an option. So that's where we start and stop the tile. And sometimes homeowners are wondering, do we just tile the back wall or do we bring the return wall out to the front of the countertop? And so that's a personal preference question. Sometimes it depends on the contrast of the tile in the kitchen. Again, it's a pleasing layout question. How high should backsplash tile go? Generally, almost universally, to the upper cabinets. And so where there are no upper cabinets, it'll go that high as well. So like if there's a window between cabinets, we stick at that height. And every once in a while, if the window is centered and it will look amazing, then we'll tile all the way up that center area. And that leads into the next question. How about if there's a range? So do we tile behind the range hood? And do we tile to the ceiling? That's what I'd recommend. It looks amazing. Sometimes, a lot of times, the range hood is already installed and homeowners are not wanting to go through the trouble of pulling the range hood down. We'll stop right at the bottom of the range hood. Should the backsplash grout match the tile? There is no right answer there. It has to do with contrast. Usually we'll try to pick up a color that's existing in the layout already, whether it's in the countertop or in the cabinets or in the tile, and that makes it really pleasing. If we add another element of color to the grout, then it just starts to create a cacophony of color. Should backsplash be centered on the sink? Yeah, but it depends, right? Yes, but. So centering on the sink is fantastic, but you got to be concerned about the end cut and the corner cut on both sides of the end of the wall. So if they are going to be small, then you need to adjust somewhere, and you may center on the tile itself or center on the grout joint at the sink. But yeah, it's good practice to center on the sink unless it's a pattern tile that really won't make much of a difference visually. So I've got one more bonus situation that you might run into with a backsplash that doesn't come up here on the Google searches. And that is there's a receptacle, whether it's an outlet or a switch, that's like kind of half in, half out of this area where we really want to stop the tile work. What do? There's three options there. One is to actually bring a straight line out around it, so we have tiled in down to the floor from there, just kind of made like a feature area, and even on up beside the cabinet, just to include that outlet. And that's not a bad choice. The best choice is to get an electrician involved. See if you can't get Sparky to move that thing into the area of the backsplash. That is by far the best thing to do. Then the drywall work can be repaired and you don't have to mess with it. That is about it for backsplash Google questions. If you've got any questions, I encourage you to leave them in the comments below. It would be fantastic for us to take a look at those and see if we can answer them for you. All right, thanks.